forced now to dig a good road that can lead you up to Chebukube. You improve trade, you open up trade with Uganda. When you reach Chebukube, you have reached my place. When you reach Chebutais, you are near, you are smelling Matanga across. But have we utilized that? Have we utilized that? No. Instead, we want to build industries in Bungoma. Everybody, in fact, people can kill you more on land in the Bungoma town than they can fight you there. Yet there is land there. There are people who have land and they call it, this is my area. Why don't you call somebody to put a chicken portrait? Because we Luyas like chicken so much. We eat chicken. Mama Sarah goes on to buy chicken. Anybody who has passed to Webuye will tell you, Miriam, if you are going to Bungoma, there is a very famous chicken place. That I have never eaten any chicken on planet Earth which is as sweet as that chicken from Mama Sarah. And you find limousines, cars parked there. Huge, many cars parked in that place, saying, we are here. We have come here. We want A, B, C, D. We are eating chicken. You can sit for 30 minutes while your 2 chicken are being prepared very well. The soup that comes from there, you wonder, is it the chicken? Is it because of the charcoal, the wood that has been used? It is not like the soup you eat at home where your wife has prepared while you are watching some teams, miserable teams in Africa, pretending to be playing football. You know, these are some of the things. Miriam, your take on that? She says industries must be put in the rural areas instead of them going to urban areas. That will improve agriculture. Yes, your take.
And Eunice, thank you so much for bringing up that point. I think when we were having the conversation last week, that was one of the questions actually I had noted down that I'd wanted to hear your insight on. So thank you for that information. And that perhaps what you just said might address the issue of food wastage during a harvest time. I think there's a time we were talking about the same thing about 2 years ago, and there was some statistics, some report from a government agency in the country that said as much. And at that time, it was a tough period like now, where one part of the country we're experiencing a bumper harvest, and the other part of the country was experiencing severe famine. So there were 2 disparities, and this report indicated that in areas where there's a lot of harvest, sometimes it's too much, and the methods in which the farmers used to harvest their food and the food storage, in between that and by the time we get a few of that come to the market, a lot of wastage has taken place that could feed, according to that report, Turkana for a number of years. So that tells you so much food goes into wastage. And maybe the issue of food addition, maybe have we embraced that enough to ensure that we have proper maybe modern ways of harvesting some of this food to ensure we get the most out of it, and the wastage is minimized. And on top of that, what also Doc is saying, in addition to what he just said, I also don't understand how we harvest these foods and then we see trucks being lined up and heading to the cities where some of the value addition is done and the processing is done. So having these factories near where the farmers are, what will this do as far as food wastage is concerned? And maybe, of course, it will provide job opportunities. And as Doctor has said, that will force the even infrastructural, settings of that place to improve in terms of road and other things. And this will also address another issue of migration that we see a lot of slums now, coming out we have a lot of them in the towns and cities we have across the country, because the young people are moving into the cities to look for these job opportunities. So if we had these industries, like you've said, Eunice, in the rural areas and the places where agriculture takes place, then maybe this will solve numerous other problems that we are trying to address in this country. So it's just my thoughts on that, and perhaps you would talk on the issue of storage and wastage and value addition, and if at all we have embraced this fully.
Yes, thank you very much. I know you are running out of time. Wanda,
no, it's okay.
Okay. Wanda, Miriam has added the voice to what I had said, and made some serious statements on how we can change our agriculture. And this is the conversation that we shall be having every Tuesday. And let's have it, continue having it. So many people are sending me messages to talk about topical issues in Africa. Let's look at the wider spectrum of Africa. What is there? What is missing in the wider spectrum of Africa? There's something missing. We have cocoa, we grow it, we carry it from the village and bring it to Abidjan in Ivory Coast, near the sea, then export it to London. Then you go and sit a good African with a nice, in London we like to get new shirts so that our people can see us with new shirts and new clothes, new shoes. Those days, sipping coffee. Yet that coffee, if the factory went back to the real area where they plant the cocoa, how many people would benefit from that factory? That is, I think, what Eunice was trying to say. We should invest factories in the places where the raw materials come from. What's your say? As she makes her maiden parting shot. Maybe you said 12 or 15? Sorry, we missed those 30 minutes. Wanda.
Thank you so much. In fact, I cannot agree more than what Sister Eunice is trying to suggest, that when we invest in agriculture and develop an interest of looking into the rural areas, then that could be a new path, or charting a new path that will see into it that Africa ends hunger and poverty. Then definitely that will mean a new Africa, an Africa that is now ready to address these other aspects, because when you end hunger and poverty, then chances are you'll be able to stand on ground and move. Now, I'll still look into the reasons why we are having these industries in the urban settings and not in the rural, because it's still a question of unresearched intent, that the purposes of agriculture in the entire continent of Africa is still, it is still in line or not a researched idea or purpose, in the sense that at first these industries were placed in these urban settings because of the infrastructures, because that was the easiest way that, it was like a place where they could get together, buy and ship this product outside the continent. But decades later, the infrastructure has gone all the way to the rural ends. We are well connected. Therefore, it's now a case of we go back, as our sister was putting it, that these young persons from schools that are still, they're still fresh with the abilities to do proper research. But let us now get into the research and look into how do we now make this agriculture work, because Africa's new way or a new path to developing and growing as a continent, as a nation, it's all the way into investing in the rural. And what do we invest in the rural in this case? Then let us invest in agriculture. Invest in agriculture in the rural areas, then you're automatically reducing the cost of production, and you are increasing production of raw materials, because you'll be getting ready market to these farmers. Therefore, it's very important and it's good that we change our intent, we research in these, we get these industries into the rural areas. It will help us to reduce the cost of production. It will as well help create opportunities to the rural areas. And at the same time, when you provide ready market of raw materials, agricultural produce from the farms, then as a continent, we'll end up increasing production of agricultural produce. And then this will as well address the aspect that we'll be able now to feed the rest of the world. Not a case of if Ukraine, Russia are having an issue, then the rest of the world is almost going hungry or going on empty stomachs. Therefore, it's a question of let us research on this. Let us get our industries into the rural areas. It will address increased production and it will reduce the cost of production. Thank you.
Eunice, your parting shot as we cross over to another topic, a very interesting topic at the end of the show. And as we didn't want you to leave us, and I will call you later so that next time you send us your topics in advance, so that we frame them and call as many people. But we have made a very big impact, my sister. You don't know how many people are telling me agriculture is the basis, the topic that someone can. So you take your position and also tell us, hey, which way agriculture? I think there's something that I want to confess here, that I eat food from my Kasimoro farm. It always passes your area in a car from Bungoma, Malava. Wanda, that's why you have never seen me tired up to 3 a.m. Yesterday, Wanda got tired and slept, but I didn't sleep on my Twitter space until I concluded the Twitter space peacefully. South Africans came like bees, landed on the Twitter space. On the question of Ramaphosa, I am right. He's no longer going anywhere. He has taken advice from us and international other people. He's moved on to court. So the thing is a matter. Please, your parting shot.
Wow. You know, there's this word that Mr. Wanda has brought out very strongly, and it's the aspect of intent. Intent. Those of us who, and I want to tie this even to what Miriam had raised earlier, the aspect of post-harvest losses, which is also a critical aspect, especially among our smallholder farmers who are producing actually almost 80% of the food that we are eating. So when we are developing solutions with regard to either post-harvest losses or any other aspect for that matter, what is the intention of developing these solutions? Are we doing this to show the world how much learned we are or how much research we are doing? Or we are developing these innovations and solutions with the intention of making it reach to the person who needs it most? And that is the small scale producer of food. Actually, in Africa, a lot of our food is produced on almost less than an acre by every household. That one is a known fact. So when we are coming up with these solutions, do we have these producers in mind? When we are talking mechanization, are we thinking in terms of technology or machinery that can also be utilized by a woman in a rural area somewhere? Are we having those kind of thoughts at the back of our mind as we develop our solutions? And the aspect of food distribution, having one place producing plenty as compared to another area which is under-resourced. What solutions do we have? And really, these solutions don't even require rocket science. How can we just quickly facilitate movement of food from this source, which there is, to the other end? If we cannot do that, and we are still crying and saying we need to import food, then the issue of intent still plays out very, very largely. We have had the story on dehydration of food.